Your future is found in your daily routine. Successful people do daily what others do occasionally. Imagine that you wanted to take a road trip to a nice scenic, beautiful place in your country. So you get in your car, but then you set the GPS to just like a random location somewhere else and you start driving. You're simply not going to get to your actual destination. And that's kind of what it's like to not have a daily routine that supports you and your goals. But finding the right daily routine for you is not as simple as just inputting a destination into a GPS and having it spit out the perfect route for you to get there. It's hard to find a daily routine that is productive and will help you achieve your goals, yet is still sustainable, enjoyable, and energizing. After going from someone who could barely wake up before 9 a.m. and was seeing minimal progress in life to me now who is growing a YouTube channel and business alongside working a day job, maintaining strong relationships and good health, all while still enjoying my daily routine and getting excited to wake up every single day, I can confidently say that this daily routine changed my life and will continue to do so for years to come. After watching this video, you'll be able to build the perfect daily routine for your own life situation and finally start taking control of your life and feel like you've got that GPS set to the right place and are confident that each and every day you are getting closer and closer to your destination. You'll also know exactly how to ensure that your daily routine is actually sustainable and not something that causes you to burn out after a couple of weeks. We don't want your car running out of gas or breaking down before you get there. Okay, so I could just say, well, this is what I do every day. Go do the same thing. That's probably best. But that obviously wouldn't be of any help to you because our life situations and daily commitments are probably quite different. And so the exact routine that I'm doing might not be the best for you. So I'll still touch on what I like to do in my daily routine, but I'll focus more on the general principles that you can apply to your own life situation to make the perfect daily routine for you. So I think I'll structure this video into two separate parts. In the first part, I'll focus more on making your daily routine productive and ensuring that it actually helps you reach your goals. And in the second part, more focused on making your daily routine sustainable and enjoyable so you don't burn out and break down along the way. How to make your daily routine productive. Calibrate your GPS. Before we figure out when to do the different activities in our day, we first have to clarify what our actual destination is. You don't want to start driving to the movie theater when you actually just need to buy some groceries. I've done plenty of videos about this concept on my channel, but to quickly summarize, first we need to establish what the main areas of our life are. For most people, that's work/career, health, and relationships. And I imagine if you're watching this video, at least one of these areas in your life could probably be a little better. Figure out which of these areas is the main constraint in your life. So think about it, which of them, if improved, would have the most significant positive impact on your entire life across the board. Maybe you hate your current job and the thought of being able to do something that's more fulfilling and makes you more money would allow you to enjoy all parts of your life a lot more. Or maybe it's your health. You constantly have low energy, you're getting sick, you don't like the way you look, you're getting brain fog that's preventing you from accomplishing anything. Or maybe it's relationships. You could be in a toxic relationship that's holding you back, or you feel like you don't have a group of friends or community with similar values that will support your growth. Whichever it is, next determine the highest leverage task that you could do to improve that area of your life. So for example, for me in the work category, it would probably just be script and record a YouTube video since I'm trying to grow this YouTube business. For health, it's probably just do some kind of workout. For relationships, it's probably spend quality time with my girlfriend and my family or engage with the members of my online community. So now that we have that figured out, you can structure the day by priority. Start the day with your priority 1 tasks. These are the most impactful tasks that will actually move the needle forward that we established in the previous step. 99% of the time, these are also the tasks that feel the most difficult to do. They require the most focus and brain power, and you likely procrastinate on them most often. It's so important to start your day with these big, impactful tasks because one, it'll really just set the tone for the rest of your day. If the first 2 hours of your day are super productive, then chances are the rest of your day will also go pretty well. And also, most of us tend to have more energy and motivation earlier in the day, maybe not immediately when you wake up, but just in the morning time in general. Maybe you have another block of time later in the day, in the evening, when you get a little energy boost and feel like you could be productive. But I would still recommend trying to do those really important main tasks as early in the day as possible, because waiting towards the end of the day is just kind of a risk, and it's likely that something will come up and you just might not end up doing it. So this main task should be one of the first things you do every day, and all the other sort of less strenuous tasks can be done later in the day when you naturally won't have as much energy. So make a list of all the main things that you do on a given day that you can control the time of, and just order the list by priority and simply structure your day with the higher priority tasks earlier in the day and the lower priority things towards the end of the day. Next, just turn this into a little outline of your ideal day with the time on the left column and the activity on the right column. And I would stick to sort of the overall category for the activity on the right side. It doesn't have to be the super specific task at this point. So in my case, I wouldn't write like 7 a.m. script February 9th YouTube video. I would just write 7 a.m. YouTube. And you can just do this on paper right now or in your notes, calendar app. It really doesn't matter. Don't overthink it, just get it done. Now, as you're making this little outline of your ideal schedule in your notes, keep in mind that in order for this daily routine to be truly life-changing, it needs to be a monk mode or a dopamine detox routine. What I mean by this is you need to cut out all forms of cheap dopamine and instant gratification. That means no wind down time towards the end of the day where you spend an hour watching TV or playing video games. And this could be the hardest part for some of us and what is really the constraint holding us back from reaching our goals. You probably know this by now, but if you spend a lot of time on your phone getting easy dopamine hits on social media, it starts to feel really difficult to do anything that requires any amount of effort, honestly, because your brain is just used to being stimulated by social media, TikToks, overly edited YouTube videos, and video games and stuff. So if you have extra time at the end of the day and want to relax before bed, don't watch TV or Netflix, try reading a book. You'll learn things, or at the very least, it'll help you improve your sleep because you won't be staring at bright screens right before bed. Next, we want to mimic a school schedule. This is one of the few things that I think worked really well in the traditional education system. Remember, like the first week of school, you get a new schedule, and for that first week, you kind of have to look at the schedule to see where your classes are, what time they're at. But then by week 2 or 3, the schedule was completely ingrained into us and memorized. We knew exactly, okay, at this time I go to this class, or right after lunch I go to this period. We want to implement that same idea into our daily routine. So if you're really serious about taking action and achieving your goals in life, you probably already did this when I mentioned it earlier in the video, but if you haven't yet, that's okay. We're going to do it now. We're going to create that daily schedule that mimics what we had back in school. So here's an example of what a daily schedule might look like. 6 a.m. morning routine, 6:30 YouTube deep work, 8:30 breakfast, 9 a.m. work or school, 12:30 lunch, 5 p.m. gym, 6 p.m. dinner, 7 p.m. spend time with family, 8:30 p.m. night routine, 9 p.m. read, 9:30 p.m. sleep. So pause the video if you need to and take a few minutes just to write out this schedule for your own personal life. So in general, we want to stick to that overall school-like schedule that we just set up. But just like back in school when we had, let's say, first period math class, although what we did during that time was generally always math in some form or another, the specific task that we did on a particular day, whether it be learning new material, doing some group work, having a quiz or test, would change from day to day. So think of that table as the overall schedule telling us what periods we have throughout a given day, but we still need to figure out what specific tasks we're going to do on a particular day during that period. So for example, let's say I have my YouTube deep work block from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. every day. During that time, there's a lot of different things I could do. I could script a video, I could record a video, I could edit a video, I could reply to comments, I could engage with my private community, I could film B-roll or redesign my channel banner, etc. As we established earlier, we always want to prioritize the highest leverage or most impactful tasks. So in this case, it would be recording or scripting YouTube videos. So when do we decide what specific task we'll do during a certain block? Set the rule that you can only make the decision about what task you'll be doing that day or when you'll be doing it the night before, not on the day of. Imagine that the night before you are in the pilot role where you get to decide which direction your plane is going to take for the next day. But then when the day actually comes, you are simply the passenger along for the ride, just doing the work. You don't get to decide, what you'll be focusing on that day, because that's what pilot you decided the night before. Separating these two roles is crucial because I know I'm definitely guilty of the night before being super motivated and planning out my whole day and, getting ready to work, but then I wake up and I didn't sleep well, I'm tired, and then I just don't feel like doing anything, and then change up my whole plan for that day. We want to avoid that impulsive decision making. So there's a few different things that I've been doing personally that have really helped me stay consistent, motivated, and most importantly, enjoy my daily routine. The first is working out earlier in the day. Ever since I started doing my workouts earlier in the day, so either midday before lunch or earlier in the morning, I found that my productivity and energy levels just stay way more consistent throughout the entire day. It's kind of like my alternative to regular people getting that midday caffeine boost from a cup of coffee or something, except I haven't really found any negative side effects of working out earlier in the day. I'm not really sure about the exact science behind it. I imagine it's something with, getting the blood flowing and your body active. But whenever I do work out, I get a huge energy boost for the next few hours or more, and I'm way more productive afterwards. If I save my workout until like way later in the afternoon, one, it hurts just my fitness goals because it makes it way more likely that I just don't end up doing the workout at all. But then it also means that I'll be kind of just sitting down, not really doing much for the majority of the day. And it's kind of a long period without being, super physically active. So I find that I'll just get kind of tired, especially after lunch if I haven't worked out. And then obviously the rest of my productivity with everything else will start to go downhill. Another thing I like to do that really energizes and keeps me motivated is doing a morning cold shower. This is something that I really struggled to implement into my routine for the longest time, but finally over really the past few weeks, I've stayed super consistent, and so I'm kind of proud of myself for that. But I've been taking, at least a 3-minute cold shower every morning as soon as I wake up. And obviously there's nothing better than cold water to wake you up, but more importantly, my understanding of the science behind it is that by getting in the cold water, you get a dopamine boost, which is kind of like the motivation chemical in your brain that lasts for, I think, 3 hours, which is way more than like anything else that you can do. And there's a bunch of other health benefits I've heard of, like reduced inflammation, it burns fat faster or something like that. But really the biggest one for me has just been that huge motivation boost to start the day. And that's allowed me to, get my important deep work in first thing in the morning and just attack it with full force. Allow for flexibility later in the day. I like to start my morning strong and consistently complete that highest priority task that will actually move the needle forward. But once I've done that, I try not to stress too much if the rest of my day doesn't go perfectly to plan. I found that it's generally more common for spontaneous things to come up later in the day that will maybe cause you to deviate from your routine, but that's completely fine in my opinion. By structuring our day with the higher priority tasks earlier in the day and the lower priority tasks later in the day, usually it won't be that big of a deal if something comes up and we don't get to a particular thing that we plan for later in the afternoon or evening. Take restorative breaks. We can't expect to just be focusing constantly through each of the periods in our schedule. If you've been focusing for a while and feel your mind starting to wander, simply just get up and take a quick break. And I found that it's really important for these breaks to give your mind a rest from focusing. So now is not the time to stare at your phone or watch a YouTube video or even read a book. So although those activities might feel relaxing in some way, they still involve you like focusing intensely on one thing, and don't give your mind the opportunity to breathe, relax, and recover. So instead, during those breaks, I like to do things that allow my mind to just wander freely, go outside and getting some fresh air or sunlight, taking a short walk, doing a quick stretch, some deep breathing, maybe grabbing a cup of tea, etc. So you might be trying to imagine, taking one of these breaks where you just kind of get up from your desk and like walk around outside, or like drink some tea, or just do some deep breaths or something. And you might be thinking like, okay, that's kind of boring, but that's actually a good thing. And that's exactly what we want, because if our breaks are boring, then once we're ready to go back to work, our mind will be that much more eager and ready to engage and enjoy the work when our brain is, back in that more stimulating mode. If your breaks consist of watching your favorite Netflix show or scrolling through super stimulating YouTube shorts or something, then once you're done, you're not going to want to get back to whatever you were working on. Family and social time for unwinding. So work, health, and relationships are really kind of like the main 3 pillars of everyone's life, in my opinion. I think most things that we do with some kind of purpose fall into one of these general 3 categories. When we get into this productivity, chasing our goals, monk mode mentality, it's easy for relationships in particular to start getting neglected. Just like we don't want to sacrifice our health for our work, we also don't want to sacrifice or neglect our relationships. So it's really important, I think, to carve out some time during the day to dedicate towards your relationships. What I found works best for me is dedicating some time at the end of the day towards my relationships. So spending time with my girlfriend, family, or friends. There's something about the human interaction at the end of the day after a long day of focused work that just feels really good and is a nice way to finish off the day. Now, although we don't want to go crazy and over apply this kind of productivity and self-improvement mindset to literally everything in our life, I still think like when it comes to relationships, we can enjoy ourselves and relax with our friends, family, and loved ones, but do so in a more meaningful way that actually helps our relationship kind of develop, because relationships are one of the main 3 pillars of our lives. So we do want to put some effort into improving them. So what I mean by this is, at the end of the day, instead of watching Netflix or just playing video games with your friends or your loved ones, try to do something a little more meaningful. Maybe have a conversation about something, check in with each other. Just do something that feels like it would positively contribute to your relationship. I'm not saying don't ever watch a TV show or movie again with your friends or family. I think my girlfriend would not be too happy if I said, oh, I'm never going to watch any TV with you ever again. But maybe just do that in moderation once in a while, and make sure to do other more meaningful activities as well. So another thing I think I'll start doing during this sort of socializing relationships block of time is hopping on my community that I just started, replying to some of the people's posts in there, engaging with the other members, maybe hopping on some live calls during this time as well. Make it fun. I also like to think about how I can make each part of my routine just 5, 10, 15% more fun. Could I simply do the task in a different way? Maybe play some music in the background, do it together with a friend or an accountability partner. One thing I've done recently to make this whole lifestyle of productivity, self-improvement, working towards our goals, sticking to daily routines into a more enjoyable process is start an online community called Miles Ahead. Since we have a bunch of like-minded people in the community who are all working towards their goals, trying to improve their productivity and their life, I'm hoping that we can all sort of keep each other accountable and motivated and make this whole process a lot more enjoyable. One thing I'm considering doing in the community is some live work or study sessions where basically we all hop onto the same call, maybe chat for a little bit, talk about what we're up to, announce what we're going to be working on during that period, and then just all maybe play some music and get some deep work, focused work done. And hopefully by doing it all together alongside each other, it'll become more enjoyable. That's the top link in the description. Go click that right now. As always, do something today that your future self would thank you for.